Okay, you're on, baby.
I got talking stuff.
You got to talk and stuff. So what time did we put the sap on? Do you remember?
I don't.
Okay. We'll go back and look. I think it was about 8:30. And so we've boiled off, I'd say, about 3 gallons. Luke went back out and gathered what had run overnight, and he got about 2 more gallons. Now, since the pot is already hot, we're just straining it into another container. Just grabbed a big pot. And also, if anybody'd like to leave a comment as to how old you think the sweatpants that my husband is currently wearing are.
Bite your tongue.
Bite my tongue. Well, I didn't say you had to get rid of them. I just said, you know, if anybody would care to take a...
They're so old, it's back when sweatpants weren't cool.
There you go. That's where we're at. So we're just adding to what we already have going on. Notice the concentration to not splash. That's why my husband does this and not me. He does yoga too, if you'll notice. One of the two of us is better at being consistent and slow and deliberate. The other one of us tends to bounce around and...
Bull in China shop.
No, I was saying me. I was picking on myself.
I know. And I was calling you a bull in China.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yes, bull in a china shop. So I'm very delicate and dainty. You knew what you were getting into, babe.
Sure did.
All right, anything else you want to add to my commentary?
I went dream on stepping on perfection.
Smart Alec.
No. All right, everyone. We've brought the sap inside. We got it in the bucket here for the pot on the stove, and just finishing off in here. A little bit easier to control. Easier to make sure you don't burn it. Easier to measure out the density with your hydrometer measure here. So just kind of waiting for it to get closer to that syrup point, and we'll start measuring things out and walking through that whole process. All right, I just kind of wanted to show everyone we're getting pretty close here, so we're starting to get closer. So if you look in, see how it's starting to get kind of a foamy, bubbly kind of a look to it. That is what we're looking for. So we'll get it all situated here and start measuring out. All right, there's from the way we understand it, there's 2 different ways of kind of testing making sure you're getting close to sugar or getting close to syrup. And one is checking the temperature over boil. I think it's like 7 or 8 degrees over 212. So we got our little thermometer here. You know, put the reading in, and I'm showing we're right at about 219, 220. So that's step number 1 there. And the other is floating the hydrometer and checking that measurement, which we'll do now. So all I'm doing is just getting a little sample out, filling it in here. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but it kind of floats a little bit. So let me get closer. So that little bit of float there. So what we want it to do, we want it to float to the point where that red line that just came up is right about there. At that point, that's when theoretically we're at sugar. And a couple more minutes, and I believe we'll be there. Alright, it's been a few minutes. Based on my history of doing this, it's kind of foamy and frothy to the point where typically in the past we've been at syrup, if not pretty close. So we're just going to measure this here again. So I forget where we were at exactly before, but if you look, there's that red line we were talking about. So it's just a little bit below. A little bit more boil and we'll be at syrup. Alright, came back in, remeasured, and if you look, we're floating just above that red line. So we boiled the sap down and now working with maple syrup. So I'm just going to get a jar here. Just a clean, regular mason jar. And we're gonna pour it out. Now, I don't know if you can see this or not, but there is a little bit of debris that I'm pouring off in here. Maybe some burnt sugar from the edge of our roasting pan, or a couple things that made it through the pillowcase that we were using. There still will be one more step for us on this, because we do just smaller batches of maple syrup. What we do is we take all of our batches, and then eventually we'll go in and we'll combine them all and heat them back up again, get them back up to that rolling boil, and then refilter them back out using a cheesecloth to take care of any of this remnant stuff. You're also going to get some sand in the bottom, some of the stuff that will solidify back out after it starts cooling down. You might be able to see that this rim right here, that's all sediment that's dropped out of this last batch of maple syrup we did. So it takes a couple days to get that out. So that'll be a later step that we'll take care of. But for now, we have almost a full quart of maple syrup there for today.